Hey parents, Mrs. Bell here, and I am here with another round of posture tips for parents. And this one is about the bow hold again, and I want to show you some of the bow hold exercises that we do in class that helps with dexterity and flexibility in the wrist. And so the first one is the knock. I'll tell students, get your best bow hold in place. Once you have it, set it, and then knock. Not at the arm, not at the elbow, just at the wrist. So knock, 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 knock. And then we pronate and we talk about stir the cake. And that again is just a wrist motion, just a wrist motion. We do this at the beginning of class to get our bow hold set and to get our wrist used to moving, because a lot of students want to bow the instrument like this or like this, but really what we need to be focused on is a wrist motion. See how my wrist caves and bends, and that translates to a nice bow hold that's holding when we're actually bowing on the string. So after we stir the cake and we knock, the next one is also windshield wipers, okay? Windshield wipers. We keep the fingers on the frog, we keep the pinky on the tip, and then the final one is silent rainbows, and we actually do that on the string from the tip to the frog, tip, frog, tip, frog. Okay, and sometimes I make it fun. The students might come home talking about a voice that Mrs. Bell used to tell the story during our bow holds. And so you can encourage them to tell you their own story. I'll give you a sample of what my story is like. So I'm like, okay, so this time I went over my friend's house and I had knocked on the door, knock, 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 knock on the bow hold. And I was like, what you doing, girl? And she was like, I'm just baking a cake. And I'm like, can I bake with you? She was like, sure, come on in. So she had the flour and the eggs and the butter and the sugar. She put it all in a small bowl and she told me to stir the cake. And so I stirred the cake. And at this point, all the students are stirring with me, or I'll remind them to stir the cake. And then that cake was so good that I was like, oh, let's take it over my grandma's house. My grandma loved cake. And so we drove to my grandma's house. But in the story, it started raining. So we turned on the windshield wipers. And the windshield wipers cleared the windshield enough that we saw a beautiful rainbow. Now, it doesn't have to be my story. They can make up any kind of story as long as they're practicing those motions. And this is today's edition of Posture Tips for Parents. Thanks for listening. Bye.